Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Mattel Jurassic World release. This time we've got the Epic Attack, as we have the newest version of the Spinosaurus, and this is a brand new sculpted version of the Spinosaurus. And you'll also notice that we have some kind of like Japanese writing on this, and that is because I did import this one as I was waiting for Walmart to get it in stock, and they're just messing around. They haven't gotten it in stock yet, and I saw it for a decent price on eBay, so I snagged one from there. And then here on the back you can see kind of a preview of everything that is going on with the box and everything, and also an image down here promoting some of the other Epic Attack figures that are all reviewed on the channel. So let's pop this box open and check it out. So here is our Spinosaurus out of the packaging, and I must readjust the camera a little bit, and it definitely looks really cool. There are absolutely some major differences between this one and the older one. Like, even the snout looks so much longer on this one compared to the older versions of the Spinosaurus. Of course, the sail is completely different as far as the shape, and definitely a bit larger. The tail's a lot longer, and there are scars and everything sculpted onto this one. So overall, it looks really cool, actually. I think this might end up being one of, if not my favorite Spinos to come from Mattel so far. That is, of course, until they release a Hammond Collection version. So let's go ahead, jump to a closer look, and we'll check it out from there. So starting up here in the head sculpt of the Spinosaurus, again, one thing that I think is straight away is very obvious is the length of the snout is definitely a good bit longer and just thinner, I think, than the older one. That's very obvious to me. It's one of the things that I noticed instantly when I picked this up. Another thing that's pretty cool is I think the teeth look a bit better on this one compared to the older one. They just have a little bit more of a genuine sharp look to them, and you can also see even some fine detail has been sculpted into the teeth, which is pretty cool. And as I mentioned, you can see there are some scars. You've got like one that goes right through the eye, and then you've got two more up here closer to the crest and everything. The skin texture looks pretty cool. Definitely not quite Jurassic Park 3-ish, and I think that's obviously not what they were going for. They weren't going for a JP3 style Spino, and I think that's actually pretty cool because it's just kind of a nice breath of fresh air almost for the figure to add a little bit more life into it. But you can see, again, you've got some nice looking scale detail and everything up here on the top of the head. You can see the nostrils sculpted out. You have a brownish tone for the upper part of the head. Then you've got a greenish tone here for the lower jaw. We do have an articulated jaw, of course, and both the upper and lower jaw articulate. I don't know if it has an actual action feature to articulate it. Kind of feels like it should, but we'll get to that point, I guess, at some point. And then, as you can see, the inside of the mouth sports a nice pinkish tone. You have a nice kind of satin shine in there. You've got a pretty nicely textured tongue as well for the inside of the mouth. You can see the teeth on the lower jaw also look quite nice, so definitely a pretty cool looking inside of the mouth for our Spino. As you move back here into the neck, you can see how the brown kind of starts to break up and just patterns down, and we also have the green here throughout, which looks pretty nice. You can also see, again, you got like some larger skin texture up here on the top. You can see, 3 slash marks, or maybe 4 actually. You can see some slash marks regardless of how many right here in the back of the neck as well. So again, some more injuries, whether you want to look at them as scars or current injuries. You've got more really nice looking skin texture as you move down there. You also have articulation in the neck. Yes, so the neck can turn left and right, and doesn't go up and down, and that actually seems to be the way we activate the... Oh, we've got a roar, but that's how we activate the action feature, it looks like, by turning the neck. I don't know if something, again, I don't know if a body part does that or if you just move the neck, but either way, again, it worked pretty nicely. And also, we have a nice green eye with a black slit-like pupil, and that green eye looks really, really nice. Definitely plays off of the colors of the body nicely. As you move down into the body, you can see, again, a bit more variation to the style of skin texture that we have going on here. You can also see more of the browns kind of like just splattered and patterning all through the back and shoulder area, moving down into the arms. As you move down, you've got some nice muscle definition in the arm. Again, really quite vibrant skin texture and scale detail. You can see leading down into the hands. The hands are nicely sculpted. You've got some scoots moving down the fingers, and the hands are nicely placed as well because they're not pronated. And you can see the nails, although they don't actually have any paintwork to them, they do have a nice satin shine, kind of giving them the illusion of being painted. We do have articulation in the arms, but it's very interestingly not all that So I figured it out now. There is a button. You activate it with the arm, so you push the arm up and then the head tilts. So I guess we'll get to that at some point. And then you have the same thing going on over here, I think, with that arm as well. So not really technically articulated arms, although they do articulate, but it also is how you activate the action feature. As you move up, you've got a button right here, which is the Epic Attack button. That also has some slash marks to it. You can see that the brown starts to disappear, and then we basically just have the green of the Spinosaurus. After you leave that point, you can see the skin texture continues to look nice. Again, kind of rough, rugged, larger scales on the side of the stomach. Different style of skin texture here to the underside. And then as you move up, you can see the brown runs up and over the top of the sail. One thing that is interesting is this actually is supposed to kind of go up, but I can't get it to stay. It keeps popping back down. Now it's roaring again, but it's supposed to stay up there, I believe, but I can't, for some reason, get it to stay up there, so mine keeps falling back down. But within the sail of the Spinosaurus, you can see, again, we've got the spines shining nicely in there. You also have a translucent red kind of showing off like the insides of the sail and everything, which looks really cool, and I think that's going to light up as well. And then as you move down, you can see in the thigh you have some really large, kind of almost like Rocky style osteoderms moving down. You've also got finer scaling. You have nice muscle definition. You can see the kneecap as well as the calf muscle moving down. And then you lead down into the foot sculpt. The foot sculpt looks pretty nice. You've got some scoots down the toes, nicely sculpted nails, and the nails do have a nice amount of paintwork to them, actually. They're painted with a very dark gray, but unfortunately we do have dew claws just, I can't even get to them. We do have dew claws just unpainted. As far as the articulation goes in the legs, it's forward and back, but very, very jerky. Does go out away from the body actually as well, which is nice. And then you do also have the ankle swivels like Mattel usually has. And then you lead out into the tail, and shockingly there is paintwork from head to tail on the Spinosaurus, because as you move out you do have this darker green, but you can see we've got like a lighter kind of grayish tone that runs almost like a grayish green that creeps in here, and then that pretty much overtakes the tail as you lead out, which is pretty cool. You can see the Jurassic Facts app code right here. If you want to add that Spinosaurus to your collection, there you go. And then again, as you lead out, you've got one more little tiny spot of articulation right here with the little swivel in the tail out here at the tip. Again, just kind of ending the tail on a nice little curve right there. Also, you can articulate the tail left and right. It actually doesn't go up. It does swivel, but doesn't move up and down, just left and right, which is a little bit weird. But if we turn the Spinosaurus around, we take a look at the opposing side, you can see that we do still have more scars and stuff and injuries over here, but they're actually different. Like, we don't have one through the eye, and they're a little bit further away from the crest on this side, which is pretty cool. And then as you move back here into the neck, you do see some more slash marks up here on the top of the neck, but a little bit less. Again, the same style of sculpt and same style of paint moving back down here into the body. One thing that is a bit different though on this side is the sail is completely, again, sealed up over here. We don't see the inside, so you get a nice visual of what the sail actually looks like as far as the sculpt and paint. You can see how the brown kind of follows along the top of the sail and then tapers off as you move toward the back end of it. But you can also see the greens, and again, it looks pretty cool. Definitely a very different style sail compared to any Mattel Spinosaurus that we've had previously. The arm has almost a satin shine to it, but you can see again, looks just like it did on the first side. Same deal with the leg, except the leg is stepping forward, so that's only the really big difference between the other side and this side when it comes to the leg. Looks also really quite nice. And again, oh, actually you can see, I didn't even notice that. So that's weird. So you can see that this lighter tone that overtakes the tail actually creeps up and runs up into the body. It actually runs pretty far, all the way up to here on this side. But if we turn it around, it doesn't do that over here. Oddly enough, it doesn't look like it, no. So we only have the green over here. You don't see this lighter tone run all the way up. I don't know if that's a paint mishap, a paint error on the part of mine, or what, but that's actually pretty interesting. I guess I'll have to wait and see if this ever actually does hit Walmart, if they're all like that or not. But it's weird that that paint runs actually up into the body on this side but doesn't on the other side. But as you lead out, again, everything else looks pretty much the same from one side to the other. So even though it's definitely a little bit different from your average JP3 style Spino, it's actually pretty cool. As far as the light up aspect goes, you can see again, once you press that button, the injury lights up and also the sail lights up. So we'll do that again. Well, now that, oh, there we go. The sail's blinking. Maybe not, again, the most realistic injury for a Spinosaurus. I wouldn't expect their injuries to blink, but it's pretty interesting. So there you go. I guess we could dim the lights entirely and we'll try to get an idea as far as what it looks like. So that is actually pretty cool. That definitely looks neat. And in the dark, it really does look neat. We'll do it once more. Giving you, again, a pretty good look at what it looks like. We also, again, have the action feature with the arm. So we push the arm up. So if we lift the left arm up, the head tilts toward its right. And if we lift the right arm up, the head tilts toward its left. And you have some pretty fun Spino noises. As far as a size goes, for a length on the Spinosaurus, you're looking at, from the tip of the tail to the snout, about just a hair under 22 inches or 56 centimeters. And then for a height, the highest point is definitely the sail, right around 10 inches or about 25 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our Epic Attack version of the Spinosaurus. And you can see it's very large and very similar in size overall to the previous Mattel Spinosaurus figure. So to show you that, first of all, there are two different versions of the Spinosaurus head sculpt, and looking at the two together, you can really see how different they are. And I do apologize for bringing in the unreleased version. I'm not doing it to try to show off the fact that I have one. It's just that that's the one that's on top of the other area where I have my Spinos, and the Spinos actually have a few other dinos on top of them. So currently, because of the positioning that I have everything in, it would be a little bit complicated to pull the other ones out. So this one was just conveniently placed. But you can see again that the head sculpt of the newer one is quite a bit different compared to the older one. And if we actually zoom out here a little bit, you can see overall that, again, the bodies are very similarly sized. The older Mattel Spino looks like it might be a little bit chunkier than the newer one. You can very clearly see a strong difference in the overall shape and size of the sail. But if I actually turn them around, from the front they definitely look very similar in size, and overall they are very similar in size, but once you actually come up above, you can see that the tail length is a little bit longer than the older one was. Kind of looks actually fairly similar, but it's definitely a little bit longer on the newer one. Hard to actually even tell from up above, but you can just tell when you see the figures in person. However, you can basically give yourself a pretty good idea of the fact that if you have the older Mattel Spinosaurus, this newer version is extremely, extremely similar in size. So if we actually put both tails basically at the, the area where the tail connects, which is right here, you can see that the new Spino tail is longer, but it's not that much longer. It's actually only a little bit longer. So when you get here from the side, you can see that there's not that much length, on the newer one over the older one, but it definitely feels a good bit longer. But overall, I just feel like the newer one, I would say the proportions just look a little bit better kind of than the older one. The head's not as large and the tail just has a little bit of a longer look and feel. And even though I've already given you pretty much the best comparison I can give you, and that would be with the older Mattel Spino, showing you that it's pretty much the same size overall as the older one, just a very different shape as far as the head and of course a different length on the tail. But you can basically see that the Mattel Raptor and Dilophosaurus again sit in the same size range with this Spinosaurus as they did with the previously released versions. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic World Epic Evolution Spinosaurus is pretty cool, actually. I am a very, very big fan of this figure, even more so I think in person than I was expecting to be. I think the sculpt looks great. It's extremely vibrant. Again, it's definitely a good bit different from the older ones and a very good bit different from what you would see on a Jurassic Park 3 Spino. So if you are looking to get yourself a Jurassic Park 3 version of a Spinosaurus, you definitely should look elsewhere, even though this one definitely has a resemblance to it. But there are some strong differences in this one, like the overall shape of the sail, the skin texture is different, the face is longer and thinner, but it does still look really cool and definitely bears a good strong resemblance to a JP3 Spino, or just in general a Jurassic Park style Spinosaurus. But obviously Mattel took some artistic liberties with this one, and I don't think that's a bad thing because, of course, being an Epic Attack version of a dinosaur here from Mattel, they usually end up looking a little bit different, so I'm kind of appreciative of the fact that Mattel went and gave us something a bit different from the previously released versions, but it looks really nice. Again, I love the additions of the scars and stuff. I think the new head sculpt, even though it doesn't quite look like a JP3 Spino head sculpt with how long it is, does look really cool, and of course the tail length being increased a little bit also looks really nice. The paint on this looks fantastic if you ask me, because it does have a fully painted look. I'm a little intrigued by the fact that the coloration doesn't run all the way up from the tail on the one side. I don't know, again, if that's a paint error on mine or if they're all like that, but that's a little bit weird. However, the paintwork does look quite nice for the rest of the figure, and again, a fully painted look outside of the claws on the hands, and of course the dew claw, is definitely nice. The action features work pretty good. There are a few, as we have the arm activating the head twist and, snapping action feature. You've also got some pretty cool sounds for that area. You also have sounds in the Epic Attack version, like the Epic Attack action feature. You have some light up effects. I like the fact that you can pull the sail down, like the injury of the sail, and open the insides there. That looks pretty cool, and it does light up quite nicely if you're into that kind of thing. I wish the actual area, the skin for the sail, could stay up on mine. It does not. For some reason, it always falls back down. I don't know if there's a trick to that and I'm just not understanding it, but for some reason mine won't stay up. But overall, it's a pretty cool figure and definitely a fun version of a Spinosaurus from Mattel. If you are interested in grabbing one for yourself, they are available on eBay, again through third-party sellers, as they're coming from Japan right now. You can check out Walmart's website, and I will include a link to the listing, but it hasn't come into stock quite yet. So if you do want to get it from Walmart, again, just favorite that and wait for it to come into stock. Hopefully it will sometime soon. Otherwise, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.